bloody conflict raging on for over 2 years. Violence to get the Syrian president to step down versus more violence from a leader refusing to do so. At least 90,000 lives taken and counting. From the get-go, Washington supported the opposition.
The U.S. is making a terrible mistake in giving this undifferentiated, very oversimplified black and white picture that the rebel opposition are the good guys and Assad is the bad guy. It's a very, very dangerous mistake.
Dangerous because the opposition is not even close to being a unified political force, in reality made up of an array of groups.
You find fundamentalist groups, factions, various sectarian armies, many of them affiliated either with Al-Qaeda broadly or with the ideas, the jihadi ideas that they espouse.
The Free Syrian Army is a network of thousands of militias, and maybe they come up to about 80,000 people. What's scary is how many of these people want, an extremist government, and I think it's more, it's at least half.
Horrific videos such as this one have shown that in the uprising, the enemy can not only be killed, but eaten too.
There's 10,000 fighters with the al-Nusra Front, which is Al-Qaeda in Iraq reconstituted in Syria. They might as well call themselves, Al-Qaeda in Syria, but, they want to rebrand.
While the West and Russia remain at odds on where U.S. support of the opposition could lead, Washington has its mind set on providing vetted groups of rebels with small arms and ammunition.
They're deluding themselves. They think that they can cherry pick which factions of the opposition to support. They think that there's a, quote, clean Free Syrian Army apparatus, that somehow or other we can control the flow of weapons because we give them only to select people.
Many experts indicate that American politicians are kidding themselves if they think the arms flow can ever be managed.
By aligning the United States with forces that have been conspicuous in terms of their own human rights abuses, including the use of chemical weapons, according to a UN investigator, you're asking for trouble, and that's what you're going to get.
And this question of how to give arms to one group but keep them out of the hands of another can likely never be answered.
I don't know if I've even heard a clear and unambiguous answer from the Obama administration or any foreign policy arm about where those weapons are going and how we can actually secure the fact that they're going, quote unquote, into the right hands. But, who are the right hands even?
Russia, which has been sending arms to the Assad government under a contract that began before the violence, says that the United States arming the diversified opposition would kill not only more people, but any hope for a peace settlement, potentially turning the Syrian crisis into never-ending chaos like Afghanistan.
I don't think Americans ever have a clear understanding of foreign policy. There's a lot of catching up we would need to do to even understand the social fabric that's in place and the political history of what has come to be in Syria.
Even if Assad is pushed out after years of bloodshed, there are no assurances that his departure will bring peace. Moreover, if the U.S. goes ahead with any shape or form of involvement in Syria, which the opposition would embrace, the tides could turn much quicker than American officials may desire.
Loyalties are temporary, and guns and weapons like diamonds are forever. So today, they may be your friend, and tomorrow they're pointing to the stinger at you.
A recent Pew poll has shown that as many as 70% of Americans want the U.S. to stay away from Syria, left with a bad aftertaste in their mouth after over a decade of warfare in the Middle East. So while calls to refrain from pouring oil into the fire come from left and right, it might be high time for the U.S. to rethink its choices before it's too late. Anastasia Churkina, RT, New York.